Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Dr. ETV. Today I'm here with an incredible guest, and we're going to be talking about how to master the law of attraction from an award-winning researcher in law of attraction, specifically a law of attraction YouTuber. Okay, this is Emma Mumford. She's from the UK. She's a leading expert when it comes to the law of attraction, award-winning author, mentor, so on and so forth, and self-proclaimed spiritual queen. I like this. I like this a lot. I thought that was really cool. It's like a spiritual queen badass podcast. So I want to say welcome, Emma. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me, Espen. I'm so excited to be here and chatting with your community and talking all things manifestation. I was just saying to Laura, your assistant, it's nice and sunny here in the UK today. It's nice and early. So it's funny that you're just ending your day and I'm just starting my day. So my day's going good so far.
Beautiful. Love your smile and energy. Thank you for jumping on. I want to get straight to it. We're talking about, the law of attraction and how to manifest. And I teach a lot of the universal laws myself and, understand energy and quantum physics, etc. But it hasn't always been like that for you. You went through a really tough time in the past. So I want to talk about how people that have gone through difficult times or might be going through a difficult time can go from that state into an abundant life. Would you tell us how was that for you?
Yeah, of course. So my life looked very different back in 2012. I had a very different business to what I do now. I had a money saving and couponing business, and I was known as Coupon Queen here in the UK. So I was doing something completely different. I was a banking manager and then went into money saving and helping people and starting my own business. But throughout that time, that 9-year period, I went from negative relationship to negative relationship in my personal life. And my first relationship that broke down, I was left in £7,000 worth of debt at only the age of 20. So for me, that's why I started my couponing business. That's why I started the money saving. And I definitely had anxiety and depression at that time. So moving through that four to 5 year period, moving forwards to 2016, I was then in another not so great relationship where I was experiencing sexual abuse, emotional abuse, and I just had no self-worth, no self-love. I didn't even know what those words meant or that we were meant to have them as such. And it was a really dark time for me. I had depression. It had worsened. I tried CBT, I tried hypnotherapy, I tried counseling, I tried medication, I tried everything that was available to the mainstream as such, and nothing was working. Nothing was giving me those results or long-term effects. It was giving me short relief, but nothing was ever sort of long lasting or helping me to feel the way that I knew I could feel. So in 2016 it came to a head at the breakdown of that second relationship. I was suicidal at the time, and I just thought there has to be more to life than this. It can't be just feeling misery, feeling like this. So it was really like, I guess, a spiritual awakening as such is how I always call it, because it was that moment where I almost felt like my ego surrendered, and I was remembering the universe is there and I can connect to it. And, I remember looking out of a window at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was just like, God, help me. And I wasn't religious, definitely not. I would say I was atheist, if anything. But it was like at that time, at that moment, I just knew that there was a better way, and I had to surrender to that. And then the law of attraction came into my life a couple of days later, and I was just like, this is fantastic. Like, what is this? So I watched The Secret, I read Louise Hay, I really threw myself into it. And in the course of 3 to 4 weeks, my whole life began to change massively. I learned what self-love was. I looked after myself. And within 3 to 4 weeks, I really do believe I had a spiritual or circumstantial depression. Again, that's not the case for everybody. Some people do generally need medication to help that. But for me, I really do feel mine was circumstantial. And by taking myself away from these toxic situations and healing myself and starting to work on myself, I noticed such massive shifts and, wonderful manifestations coming in as well.
Oh, what an awesome story. And this, you've gone on to write several books. You've got an awesome podcast. I mean, you've got even credit coming from the Hay House, which is really special as well, like Louise Hay and the publishing house. So you've done a lot of things. You're really successful in that. So we get it. I always teach this as well, in the pits where the purpose is revealed. It's the death of the ego, the rebirth and the revelation, and then we rise, right? And so you transform through that trauma. So I just want to seed that for anyone listening, that if you're going through a tough time, maybe it's happening for you. Maybe it's not random, and maybe it's actually showing you how to get toxicity or other things out of your life, like Emma just shared with us too. How cool! So, can you tell us, break down the law of attraction for us? You teach this, you're great at this, you live this. What is the law of attraction in your eyes?
Cool. So, in my eyes, I believe that the law of attraction is one of the 7 laws of the universe. And it is an energy as such that we can work with, a law that we can work with to co create our reality with the universe. So, this has been proven by science as well, by quantum physics, which really excites me because now I can be like, ha, there's science to back it as well, guys. We're not all just sat here being all woo woo. So, the Hydrogen Collider proved the God particle back in 2016, which proved that we can manipulate and create energy. So you might have heard of like the rice experiment before, where you speak positively to a pot of rice for 30 days, same conditions, and then speak negatively to a pot of rice for 30 days, and one will flourish and one will go moldy. This is exactly how energy works. We can manipulate and create energy for the highest good. So the law of attraction, essentially, to break it down, that's more the science side, but to break it down from more of a spiritual perspective, or a law of attraction perspective, is like attracts like. So the universe is a gigantic divine mirror to us. So what we put out into the world, we reflect back to ourselves. So if you go throughout your day and something annoying happens and you go and tell someone, you're like, oh, that was so annoying. And then you go and tell somebody else and then something else annoying happens. By the end of the day, you're going to think, oh, it's just one of those blooming days, right? And this is the law of attraction in action, and vice versa. If something positive happens to you and you go and share with someone, oh my God, guess what happened to me today? And go and tell somebody else and something else positive happens, you'll think, wow, it's just been a really lucky day. This is the law of attraction in action. And you've probably had moments in your life where you're like, I said this would happen, or I knew that was going to happen, or oh my God, I wrote that down and then it happened. Again, there are so many ways to ask with the law of attraction. So our words create our reality, our energy, most importantly, creates our reality. Setting goals, all of this is absolutely manifestation.
It is manifestation, right? So it goes from the law of attraction, which is a universal law, and then to our interaction with this and our interaction with the universe. And so when I researched this as well, I understood the law of attraction so well, and then I saw so many people were kind of doing it incorrectly. We were trying to manifest by saying, I want $1 million, or I want better health, or whatever it might be. Let's say it's money. I want $1 million. I want $1 million. So the thought is the intention, right? Is I want $1 million. What the feeling on the inside is, oh shit, I'm struggling with money. So what's your theory on how we have to kind of match the thought and the emotion and or the vibration? How does that come in?
Yeah, and it's so true, so important what you share there, because this is like one of the biggest blocks that I came across very early on in the manifestation process. So, obviously I followed the traditional 3 steps by Rhonda Byrne's The Secret. And yeah, I was seeing some success. Yeah, things were manifesting in my life, but the bigger things that I wanted, or the things I really wanted, like my bigger manifestations, I was really struggling with, and they weren't manifesting at all. And I thought, what's going on here? Like, am I just not meant to have them? But when I wrote Positively Wealthy, my second book, and especially it's in my first book as well, Spiritual Queen, when I started writing these books, and I thought, right, look at all of your experiences, all of your manifestations, like there has to be more to this 3-step process. And there really is. And I do believe there's 5 steps. But in terms of the energy matching, that comes into our second step, which is believe, which is one of the traditional steps. But it goes so much deeper than just believing you're worthy or believing the universe can serve it. Yes, it is that, but it's also where we do the inner work. It's where you set your intentions in the first step of ask, you're being clear, you're asking the universe for like, this is what I would like to manifest. So instead of just money, how much money do you want to manifest?
Be specific. Yeah.
So specific, because when you're specific, the universe can reflect that clarity right back to you. If you're not clear, how can the universe mirror that back to you, the clarity that you want? So you have to be that energetic match with that clarity first and foremost. So when you go into the second step of believe, this is where the inner work comes up. So you might have your inner critical ego piping up and saying, you're not worthy of this. Who are you to do this? So this is that feedback from the soul, from the inner child, of work that needs to be done, of limiting beliefs, fears, potential traumas, resistance underneath the surface in your mind, in your subconscious mind, that is impacting your energy. So, I'm sure your work, Espen, talks about
this. This is so, I just want everyone to listen really, really, really well now, because I know let's rephrase. I would imagine the majority of people listening, they really want to learn how to manifest things. You want better health, you want better relationship, better wealth, better happiness. So, okay, well, let's just assume that everyone wants to manifest wonderful things. Every person can say, I want $1 million. I want to meet that special one. I want to not have any back pain. I want to lose 30 kilos. That's easy. And then you mentioned, however, inside of ourselves, they're not feeling good enough. They're not actually being able to practice self-love and living self-love and having these doubts and fears and traumas and guilt and shame and all these things on the inside. You mentioned that is where we've got to go to be able to manifest. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because energy, and I always say, a lot of old school law of attraction teachings put so much emphasis on words. I put more emphasis on energy, because at the end of the day, every single thought we have does not instantaneously manifest. If we lived in that world, it would be chaotic, right? We have thousands of thoughts every single day. Not every single thought manifests. And a lot of people come to me and they say, Emma, I'm having negative thoughts. I'm so worried they're going to manifest. Please let me reassure you, they're not going to manifest unless it is your consistent vibration. It's your consistent energy and vibration that manifests, not, oh, a pink dog's going to walk past the window. Oh my God, a pink dog has walked past the window. It's your consistent energy and your vibration. So those negative thoughts, those pesky inner critic, inner ego, is that feedback from the soul of there is something to be worked on here. So if a thought is coming up of like, who are you to do this? Or no one's going to listen to you, whatever it is, sit with that and tune into it and just say, like, where is this coming from? And what is the core energy or the core emotional feeling underneath that? Because there will, maybe it's lack, maybe it's self-worth, maybe it's comparison. It could be a whole array of different things. So do sit with it. And I do truly believe this is our inner child, who is the inner critic and ego. So talk to them. Our inner critic and ego needs love. That's all it needs, not, F off or bashing them or, what we all do. We're like, oh, go away. Like, I hate you. We bash our inner critic and our ego, but it is our inner child. So the more you can lovingly talk to it and say, okay, I hear you. I see you. I'm here. I've got us. I love you. It's okay. The more you can give it that motherly, that fatherly, that paternal love, do that for 3 weeks. And believe me, your ego, your inner critic will pipe right down and you will be able to move through that limiting belief and fear, obviously with other work and other modalities as well. But this step, I would say, is so, so important. Yes, asking is important. And yes, my fourth step is important, but definitely this step, if you have to move through this step to get to those next steps.
Wow. And just taking that into consideration for a moment, because you mentioned, we've got to work on ourselves. We've got to do the personal development. We've got to clear these, as I call them, issues in the tissues. But then you mentioned this thing. It's free of charge. It doesn't cost you any money. It's just positive self-talk, self-love, sitting with that. I think this is so important. And honestly, if you look at the Bible and you look at the Bhagavad Gita and you look at the Quran and you look at every spiritual scripture, it always talks about this one thing, that it's kind of like, I've been teaching this for so many years, and I know you would as well. It's kind of like air, for the lack of a better example. Like, imagine you breathe air, and every day you wake up and you are alive because you breathe. But when you get up, you don't think about breathing air. You just take it for granted. Unless you become conscious of your breath and you do some meditation or breath work and you actually become aware of this element that is providing you with life. If you don't actually focus on it, it's there. But should it be taken away, everything else goes. And I've realized something a little while ago, that one thing that is as powerful, and call it as crucial or not, but at least as powerful as this concept, is the concept of gratitude. Right? And so if you look at all the ancient scriptures, in the Bible even, it says, to those who are grateful, more will be given, and to those who are not grateful, even that thing that they have, those things that they have, will be taken away from him and her. So you look at this thing called gratitude, and it's just so remarkably simple. Okay? You either focus on what you have, or you focus on what you don't have. You focus on what you can be grateful for, or you focus on the things that are the opposite. Just give us your take on gratitude here, as in, we get it. Like, it's almost like a universal law, right? And yet so many people are not actually doing it. What's going on?
Mm. Yeah, so true. Completely agree with everything you said there. Like, gratitude is the best attitude, as they say. And for me, gratitude is such an important part of my daily practice. And for me, it just really helps me to ground. It helps me to stay present. If I'm feeling fearful, if I'm feeling anxious about anything, it is the quickest way to ground me back in and regulate myself and just shift my energy and shift my vibes. A lot of people talk about, how do I raise my vibes? How do I raise my vibration to manifest? Gratitude, quite simply. Obviously, there are other
Mm,
things you can do, like meditation or yoga or journaling or affirmations. There are obviously loads of things that you can do in your morning ritual, but gratitude, gratitude, gratitude all of the way. And it doesn't have to be complicated either. You know, I literally just have a little practice each morning as soon as I wake up, and it's really important to do it as soon as you wake up.
exactly.
Distracted by other things, and it's just a really powerful way to start the day when you do it first thing. Just have a notebook, a journal by your bed, and just write down 3 to 5 things each morning of, I am so grateful for, and they could be your house, whatever, and then write your why. Because it keeps me warm, it keeps me safe, it keeps me dry.
Yeah.
When we enhance the practice with our why, oh, it gets so much juicier, it gets so much deeper, and we feel so many more positive vibes when we express our why. It's not just, you know, if I said to you, you know, list everything you're grateful for now, you could probably give me 20, 30 things easily. But if I asked you to tell me your why, you'd really probably have to think about it a little bit more. So it
And
really,
feel into it.
yeah, it challenges you to go so much deeper.
Yeah, the why is the emotional part of it, right? Like, why is this so important? Well, I can feed my children. There's a huge connection there. So we have this thing, gratitude, right? And we know that what we focus on is what we get. The law of attraction is real. The quantum field projects back to you exactly what you put out energetically. It's simple. It's real simple. It works for every single person, not just sometimes, but all the time. And so, if we actually then, according to universal law, were to focus on gratitude, would we then receive more things to be grateful for?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, by the law of attraction, quite literally. Remember,
Exactly.
remember that divine mirror there. So what you're putting out, the energy you're admitting, that gratitude, that appreciation, that feeling so blessed to have all these amazing things in your life already, boom, you're going to be a magnet to attract even more of those wonderful things. And a lot of the time I have clients come to me or followers come to me and say, but Emma, how can I be grateful for a job I hate? How can I be grateful for a relationship I want to get out of? But there is always gratitude to be found. That job that you hate, for example, that's such a toxic environment. It pays your bills. It allows you to have some financial freedom. It's putting a roof over your head. It doesn't mean you have to accept it by saying that I'm just going to have to stay here and be grateful for it. It's actually saying, well, how can you shift your perception into gratitude for that job so that the new job, a new opportunity that you want can come into your reality?
Wow, this is so big. And I really want to emphasize what you shared there, Emma, which is, it's not maybe once a month. It's every day, specifically in the morning, specifically 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for, and specifically for each of those things, the reason why you're grateful. Okay, so this is my invitation and challenge to all of those who are watching right now. And when we wake up, the brain is in a state of theta. For most of us, we're relaxed, we're completely absorbing the environment. So if you start firing and wiring new pathways in the nervous system by actually cultivating this universal emotion of gratitude, you will then literally plug your nervous system in to see that more often.
Mm.
I absolutely love that. And so now we go through life, we understand this thing, and then when we struggle, okay, bring it back to gratitude, bring it back to gratitude. And even though we've been hurting or we've been broken and we heal, we can still transition and still count our blessings no matter what happens. I want to talk about your book quickly. Hurt, Healing, and Healed.
Mhm.
Can you
Yeah.
tell us about this?
Yeah, so my second book, Positively Wealthy, came out in 2020 now. It's gone so quick. And that book was more of a fun manifestation guide. So it's a 33-day guide to manifesting sustainable wealth and abundance in all areas of your life. And I wanted to create a really fun challenge book of 33 just little daily practices you can do. So I definitely suggest starting with that book if you're new to the law of attraction, or you want to see it in action, or want to learn more and try things out. Definitely. Hurt, Healing, Healed is my new book that comes out on the 11th of October, but the pre-order's up worldwide already. And this is like the next step as well, like the next step up in that law of attraction ladder as such. So again, this is completely from my own journey as well over the years of where I met that resistance, where I met that trauma from my past, where I realized or understood how I had depression, why I was in that suicidal place in my life when I spiritually awakened. It is a guide for limiting beliefs and fears. A couple of years ago, 3 years ago now, when I was looking to tackle a lot of limiting beliefs and fears in my life, there were no books there. I literally no books. And I was like, I'm going to write the book then. I'm going to write the book for limiting beliefs and fears. So that's been my journey over the last 18 months since COVID came in, is sharing, tools and strategies that I've created myself, that I've worked with my clients in one-to-one sessions, inner child's work. So it's really an inner workbook where we look at any limiting beliefs and fears and go through that hurt, healing, and healed phase to get you into a place of manifesting your desires. So if you are struggling, if you know there's resistance, if you know there's limiting beliefs or fears that are blocking you, this is the book for you. And of course, it has a huge law of attraction focus as well. Of course, it's me. So I do walk you through the processes of that and why these tools and techniques help to manifest, but also clear that resistance as well.
Well, love that. Okay, so where do we keep an eye out for that? Where do we find out some more information about you if we want to come attracting some of that?
Yes, of course. Well, I have my social media channels, which is at I am Emma Mumford. And I post daily on Instagram. I have a TikTok, a Facebook. I have a YouTube channel with over 8 years of 500 videos. So go wild on there. There's loads of free content. I have a Law of Attraction Basics playlist on there if you want a place to start. But I've got a video for pretty much everything on the Law of Attraction there. I've got my podcast as well, Spiritual Queen's Badass Podcast. Again, over 200 episodes of guest interviews with amazing authors and inspirational people, and solo cast for myself. So again, if you prefer audio, you've got the podcast to learn all these juicy bits. You've got the YouTube channel, but there's loads of free content on my website as well as the books to have a read of.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I've got a question for you.
Of course.
Okay. And this is a question that I love to ask the people that I have the privilege of interviewing, like yourself. And I want you just to imagine this for a moment. I want you to imagine now that you're on a big stage, the world stage, and you've got millions of people, and they're all there and they're gathered and they're looking at you and they're looking to you. And you have this one chance, right? This one chance to share your mission, your message to the world. There's a message that you have to share to the world. And this would be your time. It'll take as long as you need. And when you're ready, just start sharing your message to the world.
Heal your inner child. 1,000,000%. I love that. I was visualizing it. And heal your inner child. I talk about law of attraction all day long, and I love it. I live and breathe manifestation, and I can teach it with my eyes closed, right? But the real secret to happiness, the real secret to fulfillment, and I think so many people chase happiness and fulfillment with law of attraction. It really appeals to the ego, right? Of have anything you want, cars, money,
this
houses.
is good.
Yes. And I was there. I was like, hell yeah, I want all this stuff, universe. So the law of attraction, I really feel, gets people on the spiritual path in a great way because it appeals to the ego, and, people want stuff, of course. But when you're on that journey, you're awakening, whether you call it a spiritual awakening, whatever you call it. And the real secret to happiness, the real secret to fulfillment, so that you don't need to manifest those things, but you just want to manifest those things from a happy, aligned place, is to heal that little inner child within you. It's our limiting beliefs and fears. It's our trauma. It's that resistance. It all comes back to that little child version of ourselves who is running the show in that subconscious mind. So if you don't want to work with the inner child, healing is absolutely what I would say. If everybody could be in therapy, or everybody could just take some time to reflect and take some time to go within and ask where those things come from, the world would be such a happier place. And I just feel that the real key to fulfillment is looking within, not manifesting without.
I love that. I have a saying on that. It's so powerful. And before I share it, I just really want to take a moment to kind of just absorb what you said. The first thing that came out was heal your inner child. I love this. And just, if I can just make a point here again, because I really want people to get this. I think when we're coming from that place of the wounded inner child, we come from a place of lack. I'm not feeling worthy enough, so I seek worth. Right? I'm not loving myself enough, so I seek something external, someone external, to fill that void, so that I can feel love. Right? I'm not feeling beautiful enough or good enough, and so I eat and I do other things on the outside. And so the vibration that this is coming from is a place of lack. Right? And so then the vibration is lack. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. And so we attract not good enough and not worthy. We attract that which we feel. Right? And so then we go and say, trying to manifest in the external realm from a place of lack. And I think if we tie together this law of attraction, manifestation, inner child, I honestly feel honestly here that what we're discussing and what you've discovered in this sense is indeed, I just got goosebumps, is indeed a missing piece, a huge missing piece of the law of attraction puzzle. Think about this. For those of you who are listening, go back and watch this again. What is that piece? What is it that I actually feel and believe about myself? And what does this feeling and what does this belief about myself need to be in order for me to manifest the life of my dreams? And of course, vital question, am I willing to do the work?
So
Right?
important.
Am I actually willing to sit with myself and do the healing? So I'm interested, sister. What's the next step for you? You can attract anything you want, and that is what you're doing. Tell me, what are you doing next? What's on the agenda?
Well, after writing Hurt, Healing, Healed, let's say it's taken 18 months out of my life to write that book. And obviously that book's the very feminine energy of receiving, whereas I've always been in like the masculine energy of like do. So for me, it's very much a state of relaxation now. It's very much a state of enjoying and receiving. I've got some exciting projects and work coming up this year. So I just really want to take the summer to just go on holiday, have fun, and just enjoy and like bring that fun back to my inner child, because she's screaming. She's like, Emma, we've worked hard for a long time now. Come on, joy and fun. So definitely I'm going to be having lots of fun over the summer. Hopefully starting to write book 4 by the end of the year, but again, no time limit on that. But yeah, apart from that, just more happiness, more of the good stuff. And yeah, I let the universe show me what I'm meant to do next as well.
Oh, this is good. This is good. You mentioned the masculine component, and by the way, joy, we're just talking joy. If you want to manifest, you want to be in joy a lot, right? And now you're talking about the next step is to live. So take this moment to live. And you mentioned that you used to be more in your masculine, do, go, push, work. And yes, that is that drive. But then again, where is the feminine aspect, the balance? Now, it's not man and woman, it's feminine, masculine. Drive, surrender, right? Being still and being able to be in joy and just live and go with the flow you mentioned just then. And then the drive. What advice would you have to those who now maybe either hearing about this whole masculine, feminine, the right and the left hemispheres of the brain, the heart and the brain, if you will, and maybe we've been too masculine, maybe we've been too feminine. Many of us swing. Some of us are aware of where we're vibrating the majority of the time. So we can, if we get too much in the masculine, we can go and take time out. If we've been too passive and too still and too surrendered and to not taking action, we can maybe take some action. What advice would you have to someone that's to be able to find that balance for the sake of living well and also a masterful manifestation?
Yeah, of course. And we need both. We need the polarities of life to exist, just like we have seasons of like autumn, winter, spring, summer, all of this polarity energy is echoed throughout the universe. And this is a big theme of the new book as well, about polarity and why we need polarity to exist. So every single human being, no matter how you identify, has masculine and feminine energy within you. And for me, I had unbalanced masculine and unbalanced feminine a few years back. So I've always sat more in my masculine. That's just how I am, and that's not a negative thing. It means it's why I'm so successful. It's why I have so much drive. It's why I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, creating projects, let's do this. So it absolutely does serve a purpose when you're not abusing it. I was abusing it in terms of burnout. I was completely suppressing my feminine. I'd worked in very male orientated careers and roles before in the corporate world. So again, I'd had that almost like negative impact of the masculine for many years and felt I had to be in my masculine to survive, to thrive, to be successful. So actually, when I went along my journey of healing my feminine and bringing that into balance, so I, at the time, and again, a lot of women who sit more in their masculine energy but unbalanced will relate to this as well. It will manifest as hormone imbalances, reproductive issues. So I had chronic acne for 3 years, and I had an imbalance within my sexual hormones because I was abusing the feminine energy and I wasn't balanced. So a lot of really high achieving women who sit in that masculine energy, you will find will have hormone issues and hormone imbalances because we're not using both energies. Obviously, I can't speak from the male perspective, but you will see those physical manifestations in health as well. So for me, I went down a whole long journey of healing my hormones, healing my health, connecting to my feminine, connecting to my womb space. And I think as well, women,
Mm.
especially, we're so shamed for embracing our femininity or our womb or our sexuality, all these things. So for me, it was a massive eye-opening experience to embrace this and actually learn to manifest from the feminine energy, because we have the polarities and manifestation normally sits in the masculine energy more. So the masculine energy is more productive, proactive, takes action, goes out there. It's very much the summer energy, if you will. Whereas the feminine energy is more of the inner work, the inner world. So masculine is very outer, feminine is inner. So it's more about the winter energy, healing, inner work, going within. It's our inner world. It's almost like the dark side of things, which I think some people are like, oh, but actually, no, that's really positive. So when we can manifest from both spaces and utilize almost the superpowers of both energies, oh my God, your world will change forever.
This is cool. We're just talking about, I got something in my throat. That's so cool. We're just talking about the balance. And I know for some of us, we've lost this balance. And then when we regain it, we gain momentum, we gain love, we gain presence. And I think now with what you're talking about, this is so funny. With what you're talking about is finding that balance. And your response was, I'm going to go and have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the flow and enjoy myself in that. I think that's so wonderful. Okay, so you're going to take some time. You're going to relax. You're going to rest. You're going to receive. And the next step now, with what's coming in the world, what do you think is an important focus point? I mean, some of us believe that this is the Great Awakening, that magnificent things are happening, that consciousness is expanding quickly. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm no expert on this by any means. I'm with everybody here in this boat of what is happening in the world. So, obviously, I have had some incredible guests on the podcast who talk about the golden age and the Great Awakening. Shaman Durek came on my podcast as well, and he's a massive, he wrote actually in his book, Spirit Hacking, about the Great Blackout and things, and actually predicted all of this in 2019 when that book was published. So reading that was like fascinating for me to learn all about how people and cultures have seen this for so long. But yeah, I feel like we are having a great awakening. Definitely. I noticed that more and more people are speaking of manifestation. It seems to be very mainstream now. Like, I can't watch a TV show without hearing someone saying, I'm manifesting it. I'm like, yes. So it's great that these things are reaching more of a mainstream audience. It's great that people are questioning things and are waking up and thinking, do you know what? I do want to live a better life. I do want to be happy. I do want to try something different. I don't want to do what I have done before. Maybe that relationship actually wasn't working. So I think it's really challenged us to be honest with ourselves. And I think a lot more people are living more authentically now because they've almost had that permission slip with this time to really be honest with themselves, and realize that they can't keep going on, with how they were living as such. So I think it'd be very interesting how it plays out over the next few years. The very much focus seems to be healing at the moment. Everybody's writing healing books, everybody's releasing healing. So I feel like this is definitely the theme right now, is to heal. And I think healing can seem quite intense sometimes. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, inner child work. Or like, I really want to just reassure people, healing can be fun. Healing is fun. It doesn't have to be all doom and gloom and serious and therapy. You can have so much fun. And inner child work as well is the most fun work you can do. I manifest with my inner child. I have fun with my inner child. So by listening to her needs of wanting to have fun this summer, go away on holiday, relax, that's inner child work. So it doesn't all have to be, therapy, healing, trauma. It really can be fun as well. And I think when we can bring that fun, like childlike energy to our more serious practices, it makes the process so much more enjoyable.
Wow, this is cool. And I even took note when you talked about your first book and you kind of gamified it, a 33-day kind of challenge and making it fun. This is really important. There has been this, as far as I've, observed, this stigma on personal development and self-healing work, that it's hard and it's painful and it's dark and it's, all this sort of stuff. Yeah, there can be some discomfort, uncomfortable moments. Of course, you have to realize this, and this is part of it. But it can also be fun. This is awesome. If we can bring that together with these fundamentals and actually have fun along the way, we can actually live this human experience. And I noticed you mentioned just before how so many people are, in your observation now, starting to live a life that's true to them, actually starting to heal themselves. And I've seen this as well. And one of the fast path to depression is just to live someone else's life. You're going to be depressed nonetheless, because you're not happy. You're not actually inspired to live that life. And so now, and I remember I read a book called an Australian palliative nurse. She wrote a book called The 5 Common Regrets of the Dying. And she studied thousands of people on their deathbed and talked to them about what they would have done differently now that they knew that they were passing. If they had the chance to live again, what would you do different? What do you regret? And that was the number one thing. The number one thing of thousands and thousands of people was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to me and not the life that other people expected of me. I think this is so critical.
So important.
So,
and I think just to add as well with the healing, just quickly, is I think a lot of people don't see the point of it, well, I can just manifest. So what's the point? Obviously, as we've spoken, there could be blocks there which are stopping your manifestation coming in. But I have found, like from personal experience, that the more I've healed, the greater the abundance, the greater the heights. And I never did it for that purpose. I didn't really know that was what would happen, to be honest. But going along such a deep and expansive healing journey over the years, like you say, it's been tough in times, it's been dark in times, but not everybody's journey is going to be like that. I've experienced, quite traumatic events in my childhood. So for me, it is facing that, it is healing that. But I've always been held, I've always been supported, I've always had my tools and practices to support me with that. But the abundance that I'm able to receive now was worth every single moment. I would do it all again.
Let's just have that land for a moment. I want to pose a question to those listening. What has inspired you the most from the conversation today? If you're watching live, pop it in the chat section. There's some awesome comments coming through. And question number 2, what do you need to do now? What action do you need to take right now? Is it to go to Emma's Instagram and have a look, or buy a book or read the book? Is it self-talk, self-love? Is it healing the inner child? Is it having fun? What's the key takeaway here? I think this is really good. I love just doing this for our listeners all the time, giving them little actionable steps and kind of try and keep them accountable a little bit, I love that. Okay. Hey?
We'll check up on you.
we're gonna keep an eye on you, right? Because we care. Right? And action, makes all the difference in the masculine sense, at least.
Yeah.
Awesome, sister. Is there anything else you want to share? I mean, you've got another, say, 5 minutes. If you want to share something,
Ooh.
feel free to take it away. You've had so many, you've dropped so many wisdom bombs here. We might as well finish with one more.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think time, that's what I really feel wants to come through, time. I think so many people feel this pressure of, I have to be doing things now. There's not enough time. And again, my masculine self from a few years ago would have come on and said, well, Espen, I've got this coming out, I'm working on this, and this. And I definitely felt like I didn't have time, or that I had to do a certain amount before I settle down and have children, or, all these stories that we tell ourselves. And I had all these stories, and I just really want to remind people of, yes, take action, absolutely. But balance is key. Just honor yourself today. Have compassion today. Be more loving to yourself and your inner child today. That is so much more productive sometimes than sitting there forcing yourself to do a task or action, or forcing yourself to complete something you don't really want to complete. If you are prone to procrastination, or you're like, oh my God, I want to do everything Emma and Espen are saying, but I procrastinate, something gets in the way, there is something there. And normally it's alignment. It may not always be that the idea or thing you're trying to do is wrong. It could actually be alignment. And I really feel alignment is such an important part of the manifestation process as well. Yes, aligning and becoming that version of yourself who has that desire. So an energetic alignment. But alignment absolutely comes from being your authentic self and expressing your authentic self in the world, honoring yourself and your boundaries. So having a loving yes and a loving no to things, and saying no when you mean no, self-worth, self-love, and all of these things create that alignment. And very often when I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I'm feeling stressed, or I'm feeling like I don't have a lot of time, I have to stop myself and just say, right, what is a priority right now? What absolutely has to be done today? And how can I create space to relax a little bit? How can I create space to receive support from the universe? How can I create space in my day to allow? And if you are feeling overwhelmed, because so many people are feeling overwhelmed in the world right now, they're feeling burnt out, they're feeling like everything's too much, create the space, put down your to-do list. And even if you spend 10-15 minutes, maybe even half an hour if you can, take some time for you, whether it's self-love, it's self-care, relaxation, sleeping even. Do something loving for yourself, and that overwhelm will go. 9 times out of 10, when we're feeling stressed, we're feeling overwhelmed, it's because our self-love, or even just us time, has gone completely out the window. We're stressing ourselves to try and get a project done or finish something by X amount of time. So you do have time, and the best investment you can make with your time is within yourself, definitely in your mental health, your physical health, whatever that means to you. But alignment comes from creating the space to receive as well, and having that time to lovingly focus on ourselves.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for your kind words. I'm wishing you the most incredible amount of blessings on your book launch coming up, and in all the ventures of your beautiful holiday coming up. And I want to just finish on this note. I want to say thank you, because when we listen, we can learn. And when we observe, we can really take it in. And I'm sitting here, I'm watching you, and I can see that you're authentically vibrating at the frequency of the information that you share. And it's really good, because you had the chance to go through the challenge to get to where you are. So you're literally showing other people the way as well. Thank you so much for doing your work. Best of luck with your book, sister. And God bless. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you so much, Espen. Honestly, it's been such an honor to be here with you today, and obviously chat with your community. And I just really hope it's helped you guys, and that you all go and manifest your wildest dreams, because it's absolutely possible. You can do it. We believe in you. And yeah, I just really hope all of this has really served you. And thank you so much for inviting me on, Espen.
Absolute privilege. Until next time, sister. Thanks so much.
Thank you.